We hope together bring together a couple of thousands of first wave creators.
Thousands. There are thousands of creators out there.
There are
virtual
hundreds
reality.
of thousands right now.
Really?
Yes.
I pinch my finger and then pull them together, I can create a block now. And you can see that this is like abstract interaction. So we have the physical interaction, but we also have this abstract interaction, really taking advantage of all the things that your hands can do.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Yi Shu in Beijing. Now, if you haven't heard the term virtual reality, then you are already behind in the developments of getting to know one of the most exciting areas in technology this decade. But you don't have to worry, because in today's episode, we are going to dive deep into VR and explore the possibilities of a whole new world. Today, I'm joined by my first group of guests. We have Alan Fu from UCC VR, Caleb Cruz from Leap Motion, and Jian Lanzhu from Youku Tudou. Welcome, the three of you, to Crossover.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, virtual reality, you know, a year ago, I didn't even hear the term. I might have heard it here and there. I mean, this year in the news, you can't avoid seeing it, whether it's in regards to business or technology or even just, you know, consumer behavior. So I'm just curious, you know, the three of you, when does virtual reality become important to you, you know, and become a part of what you do?
For me, I've been looking at a 3D content development stage for a long time. And a couple of years ago, when with the acquisition of Oculus, well, it showed to me that, well, for one thing, the screen, it's a wonderful factor. From the PC screen to the cell phone screen to having it all around us, having a screen of virtual reality. And so for me, that was a big factor for me. That from a content development point of view, content developers now have endless space for them to express. You know, with the market going to its full steam towards virtual reality, with the investments field heating up, to see the technology come along and maturing, well, that was a great thing to push me towards this field.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I have been in San Francisco for a while, living there, and of course, a lot of this technology is developed there. And so, probably in about 2014, I started hearing about virtual reality more and more, and I kind of wanted to get a sense of, like, what is this? And so I remember the first time I put on a headset, it was in a lab at Stanford. And so I got to try it and was sort of just blown away from there, because I really felt like I put on the headset and I was transported into an entirely different place. And even though the technology was a little bit more rudimentary then, there was enough going on there where it just really makes you excited and really makes you rethink a lot of components of computing, but also how people interact with computers. And at the end of the day, I think that's what's most exciting about virtual reality.
Yeah, my personal experience is I went to my friend's house. He's a director in Hollywood, and she showed me this virtual reality headsets, 2014. So it's like a river, you know. I went to the river, I saw like all this, you know, river falls down, and I went to the cliff of the mountain. I was like really scared. I was thinking like, wow, this, like, I never experienced that kind of thing before. And this is like, I just don't know how to describe that feeling. I mean, you guys probably have the same feeling, right? And so that was like the Oculus first, DK1, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, and later when I became an animation producer on my last 2 jobs, so I started to want to use this virtual reality to, you know, bring into our animation and create like entire different experience for our audience.
Now, Alan, your company is called UCC VR. It means, what's the acronym stand for?
Stands for Ultimate Creators Create Virtual Reality. With a new medium that comes on board, the creators want to come together. And of course, you can see a lot of Asia creators and the world developers are coming together and interacting with the Asia creators too. And so we announced recently with the Shanghai Media Group, SMG, and both of us are going to co-host this event on October 13 and 14 in Shanghai, where we hope together bring together a couple of thousands of first wave creators.
Thousands. There are thousands of creators out there
There
in
are
virtual
hundreds
reality.
of thousands right now.
Really?
Yes.
How many were there maybe 2 years ago?
Last year, I did a quick math in China, for example. There's probably like less than 5,000 people that's full-time in this industry.
Wow.
This year, with all everyone knowing about virtual reality, my estimation is probably close to about 300,000 people that is either full-time or indirectly involved in the industry.
And with the community, that's how you get the power to grow, right? If you can share the knowledge and share the experience. We actually have a video clip of what UCC VR does. Let's take a look. Can you tell us what we just saw there? I mean, I saw some gaming, I saw some speakers at some type of conference.
Yep.
I also saw in the beginning like some type of showroom, like virtual showroom,
Yep.
maybe. Yep.
So the first part of there, you see the community coming together, and those
Right.
are the offline events that we have where we bring people together. The online events is where we share content and we teach people how to create content in this new medium. A couple of contents you saw there, the games and the furnitures, those are the companies we invested in. So we actually have a fund. We have two
Okay.
funds actually. The first fund was $10 million US. The second fund is $50 million US, where we are actively investing into talents and entrepreneurs that we see that are creating great content for the medium.
So tell me how VR has changed what Leap Motion does.
And so what Leap Motion does is we focus on tracking the hands. And so we have a little sensor that sees the position of all of your fingers and hands, and it brings it into the digital world.
So you're going to show us how this is done.
I'd love to.
All right.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to develop this?
So as a company, we've been working on this for about 6 years now. I'll show you what we have here. It's a Leap Motion controller on the front of the headset. And what it'll do is it'll track my hands and I'll be able to see them in virtual reality. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on.
How is it tracking your hands?
It's just using two small low-resolution cameras. And it looks out at the world and you can see it tracks my hands with great accuracy. And so when I look at these, my brain starts to do something funny. My hands are in the perfect space and they're moving just like my real hands. And so my brain sees these virtual hands as my hands in the virtual environment. So what I'm going to do here is show you a couple different ways of interacting in virtual reality. I'm just playing around with blocks here. And so you can see I can grab a block, I can hold them, and this is the first time that I've been able to hold an object, a digital object, in my hand. And that's pretty remarkable to be able to do something like that. So we can have very physical interaction, like picking things up and stacking them and throwing them and moving them all around. But we can also do some exciting things because we're in virtual reality. So if I put my hands out like this, and I pinch my finger, and then pull them together, I can create a block now. And you can see that this is like abstract interaction. So we have the physical interaction, but we also have this abstract interaction, really taking advantage of all the things that your hands can do, where you're able to just be in this virtual world. And it's fun to take a step back and realize the fact that right now I'm using a computer, but it doesn't really look like I'm using a computer, and it doesn't feel like I'm using a computer to me. I'm just a person in this virtual space. So I'll show you a couple more fun things, different methods of interaction and how they apply to VR. When you think about it, virtual reality needs some sort of input. You're not going to use a keyboard and mouse, you're not going to use a touch screen, and we think you should just use your hands. So when I take a look at my palm, I have this menu that pops out from my hand. And we call that a virtual wearable interface. And if I push these buttons, I can make some different shapes. But you can think about how this would be applied to VR more generally. You're going to have to push buttons to launch applications and do all kinds of things. And so we think that this is really important. And once you can make different shapes, you can start to do all kinds of creative things in virtual reality. So here, for example, one of my favorite things to build is like a little catapult, where I can, just launch something off in a very natural and physical way.
So I can see this application in something like gaming, even,
Yep.
for example, a baseball game, like you could catch the ball and you could throw it.
Yeah.
When will, okay, I'll be honest, Caleb, I
Yeah.
love this. I think the application is fabulous.
Yeah.
But the graphics are very basic.
Exactly.
So when is that hand going to look like my real hand? And when is it not going to be blocks and little, 3D hexagonals?
Yeah.
When is that going to become an actual football or baseball or something that looks very real?
Yeah, I think very soon. Intentionally here, it's very simple, right?
Right.
Just focusing on interaction. But with the help of the content community, we're seeing more and more graphically intensive applications every day, where
Right.
you put it on and you just feel like you're actually there. And so it's pretty impressive to see.
Well, today's
Okay.
technology can already do that.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been working with Caleb in terms of helping the community get
Right.
used to this content, the hardware, and developing great contents for this. And today's technology can absolutely do the wonderful content with what you just described.
All right.
pretty fun,
Caleb,
yeah.
thank you so much for the
Yeah, thank
demonstration. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk more about virtual reality. Please stay with us.
China just really will have the critical mass to create really compelling content that makes people want to have a VR experience.
With like the effort Youku and Tudou are investing in the VR industry. So we wanted to be a platform.
That's always a danger. I mean, with every technology, there's always the people who use it well and then people who abuse it.
And welcome back to Crossover, where we're talking about the latest developments in virtual reality. Alan, Lanzhu, what did you think about the demonstration that Caleb just did for us?
Wasn't that cool?
It was
Yeah.
very cool.
Totally loved it.
I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah.
But to your point earlier about contents, in fact, today we can really make the contents beautiful and wonderful. Just the same thing in the game world based on the technology that Caleb just showed.
So you can easily overlay what you've been doing in gaming onto using this type of technology.
Beyond just gaming, gaming is just the beginning where you can get the consumers excited very quickly. But
Right.
in fact, for the furnitures, the program you saw earlier, you can use that to choose furnitures, and we can use it to do online shopping,
Right.
online tourism. I mean, that technology with the contents today, absolutely ready.
China is probably one of the earliest adopters of technology. We saw that with smartphones and other types of technology, mobile payments.
Yeah.
And it sounds like VR is the same. I mean, Caleb, I know that you're spending more and more time here in China. Why is that? You're a company
Yeah.
based in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so we're based in San Francisco, but man, I spend about half my year out in China, and it's just because there's so much VR excitement here. But something is really unique about the Chinese market. Of course, there's a lot of early adopters, and that really helps, right? You look at just a lot of things. I go back to the U.S. and think that we're really in the old school. We still send SMS messages, and nobody pays for things with their phones or anything like that. So obviously, it's an early adopting community. It's also a community that really has embraced mobile gaming. And so they've shown that they're willing to, they kind of master the micropayments kind of a system. So there's
Right.
real path to monetization. But also something that's very unique is the company structures in China. So in the US, you get companies that are good at one thing primarily. Amazon is good at shopping, Facebook is good at social, but you don't really get companies that are vertically integrated very often. But you get a company like, just to throw out an example, like Tencent. And Tencent has 650 million WeChat users and 300 million users playing just a single game.
Right.
And that's the kind of company that could make a VR headset, bring it to market, and automatically have just a huge audience, a huge ability to create content, and really make it thrive. So we think that China is going to be, maybe a lot of the initial innovation may come from Silicon Valley. Although we're seeing a lot of exciting developments that start in China. But overall, we think that China just really will have the critical mass to create really compelling content that makes people want to have a VR experience.
Right. And to create the market. I mean, the market is
Exactly.
pretty much here in China.
Without content,
Right.
nothing is going, there's no reason to get a VR headset.
Let's talk about content,
Yeah.
because Youku Tudou is all about content.
Yeah, we're
and
all about content.
Right. So, and that's one of the areas that I heard is lacking when it comes to VR. How do you see that?
I think that will only be temporary.
Yeah.
I think with like the effort Youku and Tudou are investing in the VR industry, so we wanted to be a platform for creators, for hardware manufacturers, for investors. So we wanted to be a platform, like an ecosystem involves with anything in VR industry. So we have the program to help the content providers, help them to create really good content in the content distribution market. We wanted to be the biggest platform, the same year next year. We wanted to reach 30 million users.
Let's take a look at what Yoku Tudo is doing in the area of VR. Quite powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. So what type of projects or productions are you looking for? What type of productions would you invest in?
If I could say, I think every good content we wanted to be on our platform. Because right now we have talk shows, and we have tourist programs, we have CG animation, stories, that kind of little feature film, that kind of content. So as a platform, we welcome
We support any good content.
Any good content.
Now, something very interesting happened in this year's China's Gaokao, which is the college examination. And this just tells you, it just reflects how big VR is in China. For the Chinese essay part of the Gaokao, the prompt was all about VR. And the prompt was, VR is now a part of our lives. And in the future, there may be a time where the virtual, it's hard to differentiate between what's virtual and what's reality. And the question was, how would you accept this, or would you want to distance yourself from it? So now it's time for the three of you guys to be tested. How would you answer that question?
Ooh. I like that question. I want to read those essays.
Caleb, you're first.
Boy,
All right.
I think that VR is going to really have a profound impact because that future that essay prompt is describing is actually really close, where you've got digital objects and you've got physical objects, and you don't really distinguish between the two. You've got one that's made of atoms and one that's made of bits and bytes, but they're just in the real world. And I think the thing that I'm most excited about is this aspect that kind of back to that core idea of technology making us better. Well, this kind of technology is something where I can now, hold quantum particles in my hands, or I can smash galaxies together and see how they collide, and I can build up this intuitive understanding about how these complex systems work. And so we'll just grow into this future where we have this really intuitive understanding of things that we couldn't really even dream of right now.
As a father, how would you weigh, this danger of maybe a generation of children who won't be able to distinguish between what's virtual and what's real?
That's always a danger. I mean, with every technology, that's always the people who use it well and then people who abuse it. And so that's something that we always have to look out for as a human culture. But at the same time, I believe, my general guidance is that hopefully one day, we all have 24 hours in hand. Minus the 8 hours of sleep, we have 16 hours left. So out of that 16 hours, I'm hoping that we spend less than 8 hours or less in the virtual world, and then the other 8 hours stay real in this physical world that we lived in. Well, if we can, as altogether, if we can keep them balanced well, where we spend a sufficient amount of time in the real world and the virtual world. I'm hoping that with policies and with guidance and with, I'm sure once this becomes a more broad-based medium, there will be much more policy in place to regulate this industry.
I want to thank the three of you for being here and sharing with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And after this short break, I'm going to be joined by two new guests who will be talking more about virtual reality. Please stay tuned.
This is a goggle. It's based on the Google Cardboards, which is probably the cheapest and the easiest form you can access to VR contents.
Like the living heart. We actually can digitalize the heart from all the dimensions.
We did it just because we're in the travel industry, and we thought this is a great technology to help us to promote our travel products and help our customers.
And welcome back to Crossover. I'm joined by two new guests whose companies are now investing in virtual reality to enhance their product and service offering. Alex Wang from Xanadu, welcome to Crossover.
Thanks for having me.
And Zhang Ying, who's the managing director of Dassault Systems, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know both of your companies existed before virtual reality has popped this year.
Yeah.
Tell me about how your company has decided or why they've decided to invest heavily in virtual reality.
Yeah, actually, Xanadu is we're an online high-end travel company, and probably around August last year, and our partners had the first-hand experience with a virtual reality, and being in travel business, just intuitively we felt this is a technology that's really perfect for travel industry. And before we use photos, we use text, we use video contents.
And you've developed this?
Yeah,
Are you
it's like
making these?
Yeah, like now,
What is
like
this?
no, this is a goggle. This is it's based on the Google Cardboards, which is probably the cheapest and the easiest form you can access to VR contents. All you need to do is just get one of these and put your cell phone in there and start watching.
Will I get dizzy if I watch one too long?
See, like now, it all depends on the contents, the quality of the contents. If you have a really high quality contents, so
And you've won some awards with your content that you've produced. And that's quite amazing for a company that originally did not intend to go into something like VR. Let's take a look at one of your virtual reality videos.
Traveling is all about the experience, and virtual reality is the closest you can get to traveling without moving. We were thinking of how to bring these experiences to our customers and fans even before they go on a journey. Virtual reality allows you to be present inside a new environment, to be inside a story or to literally be the story. We brought together a team of award-winning film professionals with the idea to create stunning virtual reality experiences for the world's most amazing destinations. When you shoot in 360, you really need to understand how to bring the scenes to life, how to make them really interesting. No matter kids, adults or seniors, virtual reality is opening everyone's mind. It can take everyone on an incredible journey.
Take everyone on an incredible journey. Now, I actually want to go to Zhang Ying because this is the first time that you've met somebody from Xanadu, and you've seen the Xanadu VR concept. Dassault is a 3D platform. What do you think about this application in travel?
We are the 3D experience platform company.
Right.
So the experience makes a lot of sense. We believe today the technology brings us to the age of the experience. So everything in different life or in different world, the experience is the most important, make a lot of sense. If the people can touch, can smell, can sense everything, then it can really bring you to a virtual world, connect to the real world. So in terms of what we discussed about this industry, it's make a lot of sense. The technology can enhance it a lot.
Dassault has been in existence for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And how has this new development in virtual reality created an opportunity for your company?
Today, the virtual reality, actually, developed to the age can really enhance industry from car industry, aerospace industry, life science, from all angles. We have a 12 industry experience. So those virtual reality can take all those content, uplift to virtual reality, bring the virtual world, connect to the real world. For example, Dassault System, we have our car industry. You can actually use the virtual reality to have a brand new car announcement.
You could bring the car showroom into somebody's living room, right?
Exactly.
Essentially, just like what you're bringing the resort into my own living room.
Yes.
Let's take a look at what Dassault is doing for the automobile industry. So was that user actually moving the car?
Can you imagine this is a virtual car?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can imagine it's everything is virtual.
Right.
But it's 100% similar to those real world car. We actually built a twin. So the twin, a new car with the virtual, everything digitalized,
Right.
and the real car.
Right.
So the people can really imagine the experience something, it's virtual.
Did you expect that VR would become so hot?
No, that's definitely not. We did it just because we're in the travel industry, and we felt this is a great technology to help us to promote our travel products and
Right.
help our customers. No, we did not foresee how hot and how it get and how quickly it got. Get to the point.
You're nodding your head. Same thing. Did your company have an idea that this was going to be the future?
Definitely. It's not only changed the business model, but also it changed the life of the people. Actually, like the living heart. We actually can digitalize the heart from all the dimension,
Right.
so that the people and the hospital and the patient can really benefit from that.
Right.
And the people can actually to have the database and learn from those database how we can take care of all those patients.
Right.
Right.
Right. I know the Living Heart Project is a very important project for Dassault in healthcare.
Yes.
And it's actually will enable doctors and patients to simulate individual's heart and see how a solution or some sort of treatment would affect
Exactly.
that heart,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
It's really amazing what medical technology can do with 3D modeling and with virtual reality. Let's take a look at that clip.
We used our 3D technology to create immersive 3D environments, and we've built two scenarios. One which is a virtual operating room, which allows you to see how a surgeon could be looking at a patient on a table, and you can investigate surgical procedures in real time. The second scenario is really a deep dive investigation into the heart itself, and that's where the interesting part comes. When they're in that heart, it's beating and the sounds are going, everyone has the same reaction, where it takes them to a place where they said, wow, this is really powerful, I can really feel how this can make a difference.
That's incredible. You can actually immerse yourself in your own heart.
I know.
Yeah, you see not only so-called virtual heart, but a living heart.
Right.
Yeah.
In the last segment, and in actually the last episode that we had talking about virtual reality, we were talking about how it's still very early stage. And a lot of these companies are not profitable yet. Of course, your companies existed before VR, so you are not relying only on VR for revenue. But how do you see this, in terms of the business modeling when it comes to your VR product? You're still a startup company. Are you still in investment mode, or are you a profitable company?
We're definitely making some expansion right now. So
Okay.
those requires some additional investments. But what we're trying to do is really now just actually do generate revenues,
Right.
and that start more and more be able to cover our investment now.
Sure.
And so in foreseeable futures, and we really want to turn this into a profitable business. Not just some lofty kind of concept.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I think that's not what we will.
You have to be able to
do.
monetize it to be able to
exactly.
survive.
And they have to do that
Yes.
early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Zhang, you said before that there are 12 different industries
Yeah.
that you work in. We saw an application in the automotive industry, which really seemed like what Alex is doing in terms of providing an experience to the consumer. The Living Heart Project, on the other hand, is more of a tool for people in the industry, for doctors and for surgeons. Now, I know that you work in the healthcare, in the Living Heart Project. You've been working with one of Chinese leading heart hospitals, which is Fuwai. How do you work with these doctors and surgeons?
Okay. From a big picture, virtual reality today is not something the investment stage to Dassault system. We are already to the stage we commercialized everything. Okay. For example, like Fuwai Hospital, they actually really use our tools, use the virtual reality as one of their key elements to uplift their business, their technology, their situation and environment. So this is number one. Number two, as I told you, we have a 12 industry, like energy, nuclear. They use this type of technology, actually do the training, simulate everything so that people can learn from the virtual world and to fix the problem in the real world. Today, actually, we are working on some virtual city.
Virtual cities?
Yeah, can you imagine if we digitalize the whole city, what will happen? For all those tiny things like transportation, like those pollution management, everything you can digitalize, then you can virtualize it, you can touch it, you can make some solution to fix it.
Right.
So that's something very exciting.
Wow, that's incredible. And you can actually create simulations and test different scenarios.
Exactly.
All right, well, really exciting development. Thank you, both of you, for being here and sharing with us today. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, well, stay tuned because we're not finished yet with our discussion in virtual reality. In our next segment, we will meet an artist who is now producing his theatrical shows in VR. Please stay tuned.
How to use VR to contact with the audience. That's very important. So I have to find the balance in the between. My work style is also bring the audience and into the dream. I think the VR can help me.
Welcome back to Crossover, and now I'm joined by one of China's foremost contemporary dance artists, Zhao Liang, and his VR producer, Qian Yanjun. Welcome to Crossover.
Thank you.
Now, the two of you have produced China's very first VR production in dance theater.
Yes.
It's called The T-Spell.
Yeah.
Shall we take a look first?
Yeah.
All right, take a look at the clip. Now, first of all, some of those items that I see in the video clip are here today with us.
Yes.
Can you introduce these to me?
This is a ancient teapot set. It's from a temple. Yeah, like 1,000 years. It's very old stuff.
So these were used to make tea.
Yes.
It's so different from what we use today.
Yes, totally different. Before we call it maybe like a cha super, or we Chinese call cha tang. Yeah. So today we only call it's tea like this.
Zhao Liang, tell me about your production, The T-Spell. What is the story about?
This piece for me very special. Before I do another piece we call The Dream of Zen, and someone because had this piece and she told me maybe I can do that. After I saw this teapot and I had idea, maybe I can use it and image something like a girl and with different people and they play around and in the theater and make some story. But the story maybe also the tea inside. You can feel that. Yeah. So that's why I think it's very, very important for me. Also, I saw the stage in China. Nobody do anything with the tea culture. Yeah, in the theater. I feel it's so strange, because in normal life, everybody every day and
Drinks
drinking.
tea.
Yes.
Right.
But in a theater, nobody do it. So I don't know why. So I think, yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah, so
Why
you're
not?
inspired, one, by everyday life, and two, by these beautiful pieces that are thousands
yes.
years
because
old.
this is a Chinese culture.
Right.
Yeah, we couldn't lose it.
So then I
Yeah.
have to ask you, why then use a medium that is, so advanced and futuristic as VR? Why did you
VR.
choose to shoot it in VR?
Because I think that's very, for me, it's a challenge also. Also, I think it's very interesting because I use Chinese traditional things, and I think VR is very new things. It's very contemporary, and I mix together, and I really want to see what's happened in the theater or in the seat, and I think also for the audience, it's very interesting, and nobody do it, so why not? I have to try.
You always want to try to do the new
Yes,
things,
yes,
right?
First one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yanjun, now you're the VR producer.
Yes.
Why did you want to work on this project? Why was it exciting for you?
Because I like Zhao work very much. And also I have a space that is a crossover platforms for art and technology. So I just think that it will be wonderful to share his work with VR.
Right. And what has been the difficulty in producing this in VR? Was it, I'm sure you encountered issues and problems that you had not encountered
Yes.
in dance theater before. What
Yes.
were some of the biggest difficulties and challenges you had to overcome?
I think because for everyone, this is very fresh, so nobody knows what will happen in the future. But I think we really wanted to try, because nobody knows. Of dance, for me, and also for the VR the director also. So whatever, we do that.
How long did it take you to produce the film?
So,
3 days.
Oh, 3 days
Yeah.
in
but
terms
before
of
we
shooting.
prepare maybe 2 months. Like,
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yanjun, VR, you've mentioned you have a crossover platform. It's where art meets
Yeah.
VR.
Yes.
How do you see the intersection? It's very new.
Yes, I think VR and art could supplement each other. Because artists are good providers for greater contents. VR made art better.
Did you feel, Zhaolan, that through the VR platform you're able to change the message of your story? Or is the message a little bit different by using VR?
I think the VR changed the message for the audience because it's totally different technique. Because normally we are using body language and to express my mind. But after VR, it's totally different. VR is a technology. Yeah, and I have to thinking how to use technology and to express my mind.
Right.
So also you have to thinking how to use VR to contact with the audience.
Yeah.
That's very important. So I have to find the balance in the between. So that's not easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Have your other, friends in this area, in the artistic area, what's their reaction to what you've done? Does it encourage them to want to explore more VR?
I think everybody feels amazing. Yeah, what's happened? Because sometimes you just imagine, and suddenly, if you use this class and you saw the VR, after you feel all the world is totally changed, and you feel you're floating somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I still remember first time I used the VR in my friend's home, and I feel I'm floating somewhere because I feel I'm standing in the universe, in the sky, and I lost. But this experience for me is very important. I still remember. Also very strong, yeah.
So you're saying you felt like you completely lost yourself.
Yes.
Is that the experience that you hope that your audience will
Yeah.
have, that they lose themselves in your production,
Because,
in your dance?
Yeah, because I was thinking why the audience want into the theater. Because maybe the audience really want to find something, also really want to forget something. So that's why you give them chance and to remind them to, I think it's very important.
Right. I heard, the application of virtual reality in art is actually a very exciting development for a lot of artists. You know, maybe not only in dance theater, but painters and other graphic artists, especially. Google has created something called Tilt Brush. Have you seen that? Google's Tilt Brush.
Did you see that?
Maybe, Jian has probably definitely seen it. Let's take a look at that video.
Okay.
So you were telling me while we were watching the clip that you've tried this.
Yeah, I tried it in Shanghai.
Yeah, tell me
Yes.
about that experience.
I think it's very strong energy. Yeah, and same like the first time I used it, I lost myself.
You know, I think for those of us, of course, we're watching this on the TV, so it's still 2D.
Yeah.
But for those of us who are in that virtual experience, you do get lost. You're completely immersed, and to paint yourself all around you 360 in a piece of art or your own painting, that must be a real powerful experience.
The art sometimes have to us to beyond something, but the VR is change the timing, change the space, and you lost inside, and suddenly you feel something is totally different, and you can find something inside. I think this is very important for VR, because VR bring us to the different image space, like a magic space.
This is one of China's first VR productions in the area of art. Will you do more?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes? Do you have plans to do more?
For me, I really want, I hope one day I can maybe make the VR film for my works. Yeah, because my work style is also bring the audience and into the dream. I think the VR can help me.
They have no distractions. They can just think about,
Yes.
like you said, be lost.
Yes.
VR is growing fast, but for artists, that is a new world.
Right.
So I wanted to help artists to make their amazing ideas to come true.
So you're hoping to connect artists to this type of technology.
Yes, yeah.
All right. I want to thank both of you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
And for sharing your production. It's really been great. And I only look forward to more and more exciting productions from both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers at home for tuning in with us today. We'll see you next weekend on Crossover. Bye for now.